Hello, everybody. I'm Julia Stubbe, the Galactic channel, and we have a real treat for you today. I have Nick Reeder, who I met at the Starseed reunion up in North Carolina several months ago. And so we're going to just bring him on now. We're going to be talking about the energies of self-harm and how we can shift those. So, Nick, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell
Yeah,
people a little bit about yourself and your thoughts on what we're doing here today.
yeah. Thank you, Julia, for having me on here first thing, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet you at the Starseed reunion. Um, like she said, my name is Nick Reeder, and my main focus is I love the mind. I love helping people figure out their mind, shadow work, self love, self talk. Um, Basically helping people empower themselves, have confidence in themselves, and to live a better life than the way that they have lived. So they through ways of understanding themselves. That's a lot of what I do, and I'm really starting to branch out more into the spiritual aspect and integrating meditation, affirmations, yoga, better eating, and basically just all around health is my main focus, and I really love doing this. So thank you for having me on, Julia.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm really grateful. Hello, Bobby. Um, welcome to us. See us. So, Nick, it's like I'm similar in some of the ways that you do. Like I want to empower others to empower themselves to heal,
Yes.
and I facilitate energy healing. So, for those of you who don't know me, and like this is the first time you're seeing me, because it's like you're on Nick's channel, and maybe you're seeing me for the first time. I do have a YouTube channel out there, Julia Stubbe, the Galactic channel. Hello, Amy. And there's a lot of hello, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. Um, if you go check that out, there's a lot of processes that will empower you for empaths and others. They're easy to follow, they're simple, but they're really powerful. So check those out. And if it resonates with you, I would love if you actually subscribe, because subscribing is good. So
And
anyway,
and I've used your personal techniques both through in-person conversation with you and through your YouTube channel, and they're absolutely extremely powerful, and they're very easy to follow, and they're a couple minutes long.
yeah, it's real simple. It
Very
doesn't,
simple.
it's only as complicated as you want to make it. And I'm all about simplicity, making it easy to follow as far as that goes. So several months ago, I guess it was 2 months ago, I had an experience where I had actually felt the self-harm energy coming over me. And I was like, what is this? Because I've really worked on myself. Where's this coming from? And I found out it was like an invitation for the masses as far as that coming through. And I was supposed to have this conversation with another friend of mine, Sheila Corona. She has a YouTube channel, Corona Rising, but she ended up talking with two other women that had similar experience. So that was really it. And then I saw Nick's post on his Facebook page about self-harm and suicide. And Spirit said, Julia, this would be really good for you guys to collaborate and see what we can do to shift the energies here for the planet. So I reached out to Nick, and he's like, yes. And I'm like, yes. So that's how we're here today. Um, so I want to talk about this invitation, because it's like there's different things that are affecting the planet. We have the consciousness of the planet, which are affecting our emotions and our energies. This invitation was an invitation to many, and it's going to repeat itself. And it was actually, quote unquote, I was told from source that it was like a mercy killing, that we have the option to actually check out. And I'm like, wait a second. Whoa, I don't want to be doing this. It's like I've worked really hard to get my act together and really heal myself. I want to enjoy the rest of my time here on this planet. I'm not ready to
Yeah.
check out now. It's like maybe a couple, 20 years ago, I would have been ready as far as that goes. But it's like I've done so much. So I want to talk a little bit about that. But Nick, where do you want to go with this conversation?
Um, well, for me, a couple like the main things that I found just personally with myself, my own journey dealing with thoughts of self harm or self destructive thoughts or even suicide is. what I found out is a lot of times there's a couple different areas that I have found is one, it's like people's health. They don't see a way out of the pain and suffering that they're in. And that's a really hard one to help people through. Another thing is a lot of people, they don't even feel like they should be on this planet right now. They feel like they should be somewhere else.
Yeah,
And
that they don't fit. It's like that's a
yeah,
piece that we want to look at for sure. Yes.
and that's a little more out of my realm of expertise. So that would be something that I would be extremely interested in learning more about. Mine is more
Okay.
on the physical realm, honestly, my understanding. But for me, it was hopelessness, feeling I was in a situation that I couldn't get myself out of, basically an ego death. It's kind of metaphorical in a sense because, you know, when we were teenagers, we had it as well. A lot of us, we wanted it to end, whatever we were going through. And metaphorically, what we're actually dealing with is the death of our childhood, and
Yes. Well,
and
there's that.
moving
Yeah,
beyond that.
there's that piece. Yeah. And so, I'm just going to do this for listeners, and you don't have to say. It's like, but how old are you now?
37.
Okay, so I'm in my 60s. So believe it or not, yes, I am. And so back in my teenage years, I actually lived in a very dysfunctional family. It was very abusive, and
A lot of
I
us did.
yes, and I had suicidal thoughts, and I actually had suicidal and self-harm actions as far as that goes.
Hmm.
And because sometimes we just don't know, we don't have the education, we don't know that there's something else that can happen and can shift and change. And actually in my 20s, I did I tried to overdose as far as that goes. And it's not like you're saying that, because I didn't give it conscious thought. It's like I was in a marriage, and I was trying to get his attention, and it's like I said, I would be calm, and he would say, "Oh, you're not upset, so it doesn't matter." And then if I'd be upset, "Oh, that's not like you, so you don't mean it." So it didn't matter what my words said. I wasn't being heard. And I felt like I was just in the way. I was just in the way. And I was driving down a highway, and something snapped inside me. And I actually went to a pharmacy, not a drugstore, and I sat on the floor, and I looked at all the ingredients of sleeping pills, and I got the highest level.
Oh.
I bought 2 boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, my husband didn't come home. He was out doing his own thing. So it was like 4:00, 4:30 in the afternoon. I took as many pills as I could, and I flushed the others down the toilet, and I didn't leave a note, and I shoved the box down deep under the trash. I didn't really care if anybody found me or wanted me. But he came home early, and I'm like, oh, I have to tell him now. Why do I have to tell him?
Yeah.
And so he took me to the hospital, and they pumped my stomach, and they had the security guards out there. And they said, well, why did you take the pills? And see, I'm a mental person. I said, because they had the highest ingredient level. That's why I took those pills. And they were like trying to get me to say something else. And I said, well, and then I finally did say that I was in the way. And I agreed to go to counseling. And maybe some of you, that might be helpful to have counseling, to find out that there is hope. And that's talk therapy as far as that goes. But when I got home, I actually dreamt that I did it. I didn't even believe that I did it. I thought it was all a dream.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I actually tried to go to work the next day, and try to function. And, and it's like, and then there was the piece of me that said, oh, I failed that too. So yeah.
Yeah. That's
So,
a terrible
and we're just being real here, people, as far as that goes. I just want you to know I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable, to show you that you're not the only one that feels this.
That's how I am. Like you'll see a lot of my posts. I'll just put myself out there. It's not that I'm even in that mode when I'm writing. Like it's weird. Like sometimes I'll start writing a post. Next thing I know, the words will just come flying out of me, and I'm like, damn. I was like, apparently that needed to get out. Mm-hmm. But usually it's something that I've already been through. I've already gone through it in my head. I've already overcame it. And then I talk about it. So like, I know how sometimes it can come off like, oh man, this dude's really messed up, which, we all are. We all have our own.
It's our old stories
It's
And
yes, it's their own. It's
and
like
we're not
like a
and we're not in those stories anymore.
no. It's like a
But
debriefing of a sense. You've gone through the situation, you figured it out. You're not that person anymore, but yet every once in a while it comes back up, and then you are letting that energy out of your body in the form of some sort of physical manifestation, whether it be writing or art. Like that's how a lot of a lot of art is people's pain and suffering and stuff like that. That's
Mhm.
coming out in physical form. Mine comes out in writing.
Yes.
And I do it in a way that like, because I show people that, I post a lot of upbeat and positive stuff because that's who I want to be and that's mostly who I am. But at the same time, I like showing them like, look, this isn't sunshine and rainbows. This healing process sucks. Like
Right.
you go through hell to heal because you have to bring all of this up to process it and to go through it. And I don't want people to think like, oh, well, you see a lot of these people out there and they post certain things and they never show the dark side. They
Yeah.
never they
Yeah.
never show it.
Yeah. And it's like, for me, it's like, but I wanted to bring this in. And now, so a lot of you may be feeling, whether you're listening to the live or you're listening to the recording, if you're really in a dark place, feel free. I'm going to just say, feel free to message me or message Nick.
And
So
me
that
as
we
well,
can,
absolutely. No doubt.
because we're here. First of all, we're going to talk about the energies of the planet and what you're feeling. And I'm going to do a couple processes energetically to help clear some of that stuff out of your body. I want to talk about that. But we have pardon my language, but it is a poop show out there. I didn't use the word. I was so proud. And anyway, so especially if you're sensitive, even if you're not sensitive, it's confusing. It's like, what's going on? How do I deal with this? What's happening here? It's like, what am I feeling? But there's the collective consciousness, and as sensitives and empaths, you're picking all that stuff up. And
we usually get it first too. We feel it first. We're the first ones to go through it, so it's really hard on us as well.
Right. So we're going to talk a little bit about spiritual hygiene here. What is spiritual hygiene? It's about keeping your fields clear. It's about being grounded. It's actually about shielding. And we're going to do a little bit of that, but I want to talk about your third chakra. Your third chakra is where your solar plexus is, as far as that goes. And your chakras have an inner wheel and an outer wheel. Your inner wheel is your divine spark. Your outer wheel is where your experiences are. We're going to do a process right now. And this is recommended. Well, I learned this process through Cindy Dale. Has many books on chakras, and she teaches, and she's world renowned known. But then I've taken some classes from her, and I've read so many of her books. But I took a class last year, and she showed this. So I'm like, whoa, this is like game changer. So we're going to come in through the back of your third chakra. And the reason we're coming in through the back, that's where your past is. It's where your knowledge is. So we're going to come into the inner wheel. So everybody take a couple nice deep breaths. Close your eyes. We're going to come into that inner wheel. We're coming in through the back. We're going to bring in clarity so you can discern what's yours and what isn't yours on a conscious, subconscious, unconscious level. We're going to call in those absolute scalar waves of light, stirring and mixing that up from the inner wheel to the outer wheel. So we have that clarity. So now we're going to bring clearing and cleansing in through the back of the inner wheel. And it's going to clear and cleanse anything that doesn't belong to you. And then whatever can be cleared and cleansed, we're going to bring in transformation, and it's going to transmute those heavier energies to a higher vibration for you. And I want you to see, know, or feel as you push that out of the front of that chakra, your solar plexus. Just let it all go and just blow it all out.
I always get gassy when I do this.
That's okay. It's how you release. It's like some people burp.
Mine's through burping.
Yeah, some's through burping. There's the other end as well. So there's also coughing. It's like it's going to come out in different ways. Just honor that and let it go. So you want to release that. So like you brush your teeth, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. And if you don't brush your teeth, you get all this plaque buildup. It's the same way with that third chakra. So you want to do this process 2 or 3 times a day, as far as that goes. But know that because you're an empath, it's like you don't even know what's yours and what isn't yours. So this helps to release and clear that out, so that if there are self-harm thoughts out there on the conscious level, on the community conscious level, they don't have to belong to you.
I like that.
So how did that make you feel, Nick?
Lighter, a little more free in a sense. Like I said, every time, even like when I go through, like if I'm trying to figure out something in my mind that's negative in nature, like once I overcome it, it's weird. Like I'll feel it go down into my solar plexus, and then like I burp every time.
Yep.
Like
well, your solar plexus is also your power center. Your power center. So that's the other thing, is you want to keep that clear because you want to be in your own power.
Yeah, like I could feel like as soon as you said to push it out the front, it's literally as soon as I did that, I burped. It happens.
Excellent. If anybody wants, we're going to take a few moments here. If anybody has any comments about that process or questions, feel free to put that in the comments now as far as that goes, and we'll answer those questions about the process.
And while we wait for that, do you mind if I touch on something?
Yeah, go ahead.
You had said earlier about people reaching out for if they're in a bad place. Now here's absolutely, like, you can reach out to me, you can message me at any time, you can make a comment on my post, anything, whatever you feel comfortable with is perfect with me. And also at the same time, for anybody who's here who feels good, literally just take 5 seconds and reach out to a friend of yours. If you haven't spoken to them for in a little bit, or if they kind of seem off, just like, hey, are you doing all right? It's as simple as that. You don't know how I have saved literally at least three different people just by sending it, because I haven't heard them from in a while. And I was like, hey, how you doing? I haven't heard you from a while. Like, oh man, I'm in a really bad place. Like, so when you're in a really bad place, a lot of people will not open up to you. Like, they will not come to you first. So if you just send them a message and just let them know that you're thinking of them, it'll give them the opportunity to open up to you. It's not saying that they're going to, but it gives them the opportunity. And I have saved at least 3 of my friends who were in the process of, at very least, thinking about ending their lives. And I've been able to talk them through that, just as a very simple, hey, how are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while, because I knew they were struggling.
Yeah,
and also,
I want to answer Amy here. Yes, Amy, that's great that you do that, because you have to do that. You have to follow those nudges to reach out to people. Sometimes.
Yes, that's what it is. I feel it. Like I haven't, there's something I need to reach out to them, and I do. And then they're like, wow, that's incredible. But crap, there's something else. Go ahead.
Well, I also want to say is, like, because what people do, and I have friends that do this, that do hibernation mode, and it's like they won't even answer their texts. So it's like, I actually ask them some kind of stupid question, like, do you want to go get food with me? I really could use somebody to go get food with me, because I'm a foodie. Like, and even if they say no, it's like, okay, that's an in. That's an in for me to talk to them. It's like, okay, hi Jen, you haven't had the opportunity. So if you get that, because it's like, that's just not like them. And it's like, so I don't give up on the first try. And it's like, and if you sit with it, and it's like, use your intuition. It's like, well, how can I get their attention? And maybe you even have to pick up the phone and call them, not just text them.
Yeah. And also, very important, another thing as well, because, it's just from personal experience, I'm the person that checks up on everyone else. I'm that person. I take care of myself. I really try not to get anybody else to help me. It's kind of who I am. It's not saying it's healthy.
Isn't that, that sucks, doesn't it? Because
it does. And the thing is like, for others, is that I know not everyone can handle things all the same. Everyone's different, but like, check up on your strong friends, the people that you have always think like, oh, they're always the strongest ones. Well, they're the ones, a lot of times they're struggling the most, because they're dealing with their stuff, and they're helping a lot of people through their stuff too. So just check in on them as well. Yeah, and it means, even if they're like, hey, I'm fine, it means a lot to them just knowing that you thought of them.
Yeah, that somebody cares. Because for me, it's like, I know
literally that's all it takes sometimes.
Actually, I stepped back for January, because I was calling it Self-Heal January. And then it's like, then this came up. I thought this was Self-Heal January. But they showed me that I was supposed to do this. But it's like, yeah, because even me, the thoughts that I get with the collective, it's like, would it even make a difference if I wasn't here?
Yeah, we all do. A lot of us go through it, and we all have that thought. I mean, it's not It not and sometimes you can expand on this. You know a lot more of this than I do. Sometimes they're not even your thoughts.
Correct. That's
They're
what we're
not.
talking
They're
about with
not yours.
the third chakras. It's like stuff coming in from everybody else. Another thing, and I do want to talk about this because where those self-harm thoughts can come in is also through nano, and as far as that goes. And what is nano? There's a nano clearing, but there's etheric nano, which is like AI,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like programming. And then there's also physical nano, which is in your chemtrails. It's in your food. It's in different places as far as that goes. And from my experience, and you may or may not have experienced this because I'm a little outside the box, but
a little bit.
There's what I call was custom nano. So back in last year sometime, and I can't remember, I think it was like in the middle of the year, I got hit with something that I was like, it's good. It's good I don't have anything in the house that could do self-harm, because I was like, whoa, where did this come from? And
Yeah.
I had to sit back, and I'm like, what is this? And I heard, because I connect to source and I ground, and I'm like, what is this? And I heard nano, and I'm like, oh. And I had this little, I don't know, when you get older, you might get these red moles on your body, but I had this red mole that showed up on my arm, and it started bleeding. And I'm like, what's that about? And they go, that's where the nano is. And it was suicide nano. And I'm like, whoa. So it was a program that was looping. So what I did is, through energy work, I deactivated it. And then I actually took, I used 2 feathers. It's a salve that actually will pull cancers out of your body. But I put that on, and I would put that on red moles, and it would get the red moles to disappear. But this time I put it on there, and it actually pulled a chunk out, which was the nano, and left a hole in my arm as far as that goes. So there's, whoa.
I'm just sitting here like, right, cool.
Yeah. So it was like, for me, one of the first things I ask, and for those of you who are intuitive, is like, first of all, you always want to ask, are these feelings even mine?
Yes, very important.
Okay, so that's the first thing, and you get a yes or a no. And if it's a no, then you need to make sure you're clearing your energies, clearing your third chakra. And we'll go through another grounding, clearing, and shielding process a little bit later in this. And then also it's like, well, is it nano? And if you get a yes, it's like, okay, well, where is it? And I want to deactivate it now. You are a powerful being, and you're only limited by your beliefs. So if you believe you can deactivate it, you can deactivate it. Trust me. And it's just about that. And our belief system, we've been programmed that we are not that powerful, that we don't have the power to heal ourselves. And that is all false information. It's as far as that goes. So I just want to bring that up. And so there's different things that can be hitting you, and it's the collective that you're pulling in. So it's like, you really want to work on yourself. And the other thing is, like, I do want to say, it's like, because it's about the reaching out that Nick had mentioned. Some of you feel like guilty or not worthy to reach out.
Yeah.
You are worthy. And I just want you to know that you are worthy, and you're important, and you mean something to
you're extremely loved.
On different levels, not just here on the physical level, but on the spiritual level. I'm getting emotional with this because I can really feel that in a lot of people, that they don't really feel that they deserve to even be here.
No.
And you do.
Or and deserve anything good in their life, or anything, even to be happy. A lot of us don't even deserve. We don't think we deserve to be happy. Like, it's scary. Happiness literally scares me. I get scared of it. Right.
Well, because it's something you're not really sure of, and it can be taken away. So when we do that, you want to look. When I know Nick works with inner child and shadow work too. When you're feeling that, reach out to someone, whether it's myself, because I facilitate sessions. Nick will work with you to go and look at your inner child. Look at what needs to be healing as far as that goes. What is Jen saying here? All right, I got to read this, and I got to put my glasses on. This is so resonant. I'm having clearing from childhood of seeing the shadow people and cloaked alien beings in the implanted nanos and try to cause us to do homicidal stool acts. Well, Jen, I'm so glad that I was on the nose. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. And I did, okay, Miss EGG, I'm not sure who you are, but I did breath work outside, and there was an air pollution advisory at 2.5 pollutant, and burned my nose and my brain. Yes, there's stuff out there. So you've got to be really aware of your environment, because this is coming physical as far as this goes. And as far as that goes, it's like we just have to, I'm not trying to find the words for it as far as that goes. So you have to determine if it is physical or if it's etheric, because it's coming in energetically, and it's also on a 3D level as far as that goes.
And also, you may be picking it up from someone who's a close connection to you as well, because I have had stuff like that as another person who is very close to me, very connected with me. I've scanned my mind and my body, and I was like, there's no reason for me to be sad right now. There's no reason for me to be angry right now. I'm literally like, I scan my mind to figure it out. And then like, I'm like, this is not coming from me. And then I found out later on that it was coming from somebody else who was close to me.
Nick, do you want to read Al's comment?
So this is good to hear. I've been that way for so long, overcame it, but I love what I'm hearing. Oh, Al's he's been on my page for a long time. He's a solid dude. He works his ass off. He does a lot of work.
And you have to do the work, and the work isn't necessarily pretty. It's like when you do work on your shadow side and your inner child, it's like you may be releasing as far as like crying and bowel movements and coughing and hacking and your heart not being able to breathe. Yeah, it's like, I know when I first started doing energy, when I was actually brought into it, it's like I actually did a regression into my childhood where I actually had been holding water in my lungs from when somebody pushed me under the water and drowned me. And I actually left my body. And when I did this, when I came out of that regression, I literally filled 3 paper towels full of water as far as that goes. Wow. And it just, it was huge. And I'm like, I want to do this again, but I'm always a little like, what's going to happen next? As far as that goes. And for me, when I facilitate, I'm all about gentleness and ease. So some people need that bulldozer effect to go, and others, I'll take gentleness, ease, but I'm still going to do the work, and it can be easy. So it depends on your choice. Some people think they've got to suffer, which is a false belief, in order to heal, or they deserve to suffer.
Yeah, sometimes like you said, sometimes you got to ram it down someone's throat, or like to do something to them like it's very powerful, because that's just how they listen. And then there's other times which it's a very soft approach. It depends. It also depends where they're at in their process as well. Like when I was younger, I needed to basically be punched in the mouth to listen to somebody else. And now you don't need to do that to me. Now it's a softer approach. Like I am so much softer on myself now, where like I do the inner child work. I envision myself as a child, like, and I literally feel like I'm holding him and hugging him and telling him that it's okay, that it's not your fault, and giving him love and appreciation. And I cannot tell you how much that has helped me. And also being kinder to myself when I talk to myself, because your inner voice is, excuse me, your inner voice is literally what you become in the physical reality.
Absolutely.
However you talk to yourself, however you believe in yourself, that is literally what manifests outwardly into your physical reality.
Absolutely. You create your own reality as far as that goes. So it's like,
absolutely.
So you want to love yourself. You want to talk to yourself like you're your best friend.
That's
like,
it.
How would you talk to your best friend? Would you would you tell your best friend, and maybe some of you might, that you're stupid?
Yeah.
But you don't want to do that to yourself.
Yep,
you don't want to judge yourself. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Nick. Go.
No, you're fine. And to go with what you say is that what I tell people, I said, think of it this way: if a friend of yours came over to your house and told you were stupid, you were ugly, you were fat, you were whatever, were worthless, whatever words you tell yourself, would you be a friend with that person? You wouldn't allow them in your house again. So why do you allow yourself to tell yourself that way? Because most of our beliefs that we have about us aren't even ours. They are what somebody else said to us, that we are literally just agreeing that it is true about us. It does not make it actually true. Correct. And as soon as you tell yourself that it is not true, that you are not worthless, you are not fat, you are not ugly, all of that emotion fades away because you are not agreeing with that image that image of yourself that someone else put into your head. And all of that emotion, all of that feeling, it fades away.
So Bobby brought up, I have to work so hard on the judgment of others. So let's talk about judgment. I'd really like to talk about that.
I used to do. Does he mean judging other people? Is that what he means? I'm assuming.
He said judgment of others. So I'm thinking that as far as that goes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but even judgment of self. So if you can step out of judgment, and it's like, how do you do that? What if there is no good or gooder or bad? What if it just is, and be in that moment?
Yeah.
And release the judgment that it is. Because first of all, and that's of ourselves too. It's like, oh, I'm going to make a choice here. This choice isn't a good choice or a bad choice. It's just a choice. And it's not a life commitment. I can choose something different in the next 15 minutes if I want.
Exactly.
And choose something different. Yep. So it's just a learning experience. I was always, the way I started my spiritual journey, or my journey to wholeness, I like to call it, is it's either about the love or the lessons. Mm-hmm. And that's it. So what lesson, I always go with, what lesson did I learn here?
Yes, that's so important.
What's the lesson here? Or if this is just about love, you know, and being in that love space and embracing that. And if you can narrow it down to love and lessons, it's going to be easier for you not to judge yourself.
And also, yeah. And if another, just one more point, if you are judging others, typically you are judging yourself. The way that you treat others is typically the way that you treat yourself.
Yeah, so, because if you have to judge, it's a trigger.
Yeah.
When you judge, and that represents something that inside you that needs to heal. So when you project judgment out, you're actually judging yourself on something that needs to heal.
And also, what's very important is not to know that you do that, but as soon as you understand that you do that, know that everybody else is doing that to you as well. So how people treat you is more of a representation of themselves than it is how you actually are. So when I learned that, I was like, oh, this is somebody else's inner struggle that they're dealing with. It's not me. Like they have years of pent up anger and aggression and rage and all sorts of other things that I just happen to be some form of representation of their past that they are dishing it out on.
Right. Yeah.
And when I understood that, it calmed me down a lot, and it made me not take things so personal.
Right. It's a projection or a mirror of themselves as far as that goes. So if you can recognize that even within yourself, is like, if something triggers you, if you get triggered, you want to go within and look inside yourself and see what needs to be healed. And if somebody's, projecting out to you, you've got to say, oh, wow, they're going through a lot of stuff right now. Let's just send them love and compassion. It's like, I don't feel like I'm the one to really assist them. Maybe I am, but I'm going to clear my field here, and I'm going to set my boundary. And at the minimal, I'm just going to send them divine love. As far as that goes. And I'm going to step back from judgment.
And loving yourself as well, because you were probably triggered in some sort of way. So as soon as the trigger comes up in you, like, oh, this person said something, this person did something that made me angry or made me sad or whatever. Now, in the moment, you're not going to be able to react properly. Sometimes you may react from an old wounded position, but once you step away from that, and you at the end of the day, you're like, man, why did this really upset me? And then you start working yourself backwards in your mind, and it's almost always childhood or a past relationship or something like that someone hurt you. And it's just, what triggered you is a memory of your past. So as you heal from your memory of your past, the next time that happens to you, you're not going to be as upset or as triggered about it, and you're going to respond differently in the present moment. And when you respond differently in the present moment, it actually heals your past.
Correct.
And it completely changes the course of your future. Like, your responses in the present moment are the most important thing.
Correct. And I do want to say, I want to go back, like when you do inner child work, your inner child work actually affects.
Yes, they're on their own path, and everyone has their own path, and we can't control them. We can't judge them. Everybody is where they are, and that's exactly where they're supposed to be. That's really hard. It's a hard one to get.
Their journey and their choice as far as that goes. And we want free will to make our own choices.
Yep.
So we've got to let go so that others can have free will to make their choices as well.
Yeah, the more healing we do, the less triggered. It is amazing, and then you can be nicer to everybody else. And like, so I heard Bashar say that. He said, it is not up to me to change how you want to experience reality. If you want to
Correct.
be upset, if you want to be mad, I'm not going to change that. If that's how you want to live life and that's how you want to experience reality, then that's on you. Until you're going to keep experiencing that over. If you're constantly mad, you will constantly find things to be mad about.
Correct. And you're like a magnet because you create that new reality. It's like with the universe, it's like, I am mad. So the universe goes, oh, well, let's give you something to be even more mad about. How's this? And we'll give you a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. And then it's like, oh, now I'm really mad. Well, let's give you a little more because you really want to be that way.
And it sucks until you realize that that's what's happening. Then you're like, oh, this is on me. It's my own dumbass fault.
Yes. So for me, it's like I just create my reality. It's like I'm easy. My main thing is easy peasy lemon squeezy. So everything's easy, and I want to do joy and fun. So I set that. I am in the morning. It's like I'm full of joy. I'm gonna be kind. So kindness is gonna come my way. And I do want to. You said nice. Be nice. I'm gonna talk. I just want to. I got a little trigger. Well, not a little trigger, but a little hit with that. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between being nice and being kind.
Yes. Okay, go ahead. Yes. I'm glad you hit that. Go ahead.
Nice. It's like, oh, I got to be nice. I got to make sure everything runs smooth so nobody gets pissed. So you compromise who you are to be nice because you don't want to make waves. Okay. Being kind is for community as far as that goes. It's for the greater good as far as being kind. It's about telling the truth. And you've got to look at it, whether it's your truth and your opinion, or if it's just different ways. Like to tell people, it's like, well, I'm going to honor my boundaries here. As far as this goes, I'm not going to let you talk to me that way anymore. That's actually being kind because you're setting boundaries for yourself for self-love, but you're also sending a message to them that it's not right for them to be talking to you like that. Mm-hmm. But if you're nice, it's like you sit there in the corner, you shut your mouth and you take all that bullshit.
And you keep getting it. You'll attract people in your life that'll keep doing it to you over and over again.
Yeah, I look at it this way. It's like the universe will keep sending you more, and it gets uglier each time because the universe is trying to get your attention. As far as, are you fine? Are you done with this? And I also get what I call the playback from the universe. It's like, okay, I'm not taking this anymore, and the universe will say, well, let's just test that theory.
Here's one more for you. Let's see if you pass the test.
And then eventually it doesn't come anymore. Eventually it doesn't come.
A simple quote to understand exactly what you're saying is, you train people how to treat you.
Correct.
As simple as that.
And that's your boundaries. And your boundaries is about being kind, and it's about self-love, and it's really important. And people aren't necessarily going to like your boundaries because it's like they can't manipulate or take your energy anymore.
They needed it. If they don't like your boundaries, they needed it.
Right. So you've got to take a look at that as far as that goes. But let's go back to the self-harm energy as far as that goes, and not fitting in, like feeling like you fit in on this planet. So one of the things that I got, because I've always felt that I didn't really fit in, is like sometimes we're still anchored into another planet or another galactic solar system. So there's reasons we're there as far as that goes. And I know for me personally, it's like I was getting this feeling as far as like, I had to go, I had to leave, I had to leave, I had to go, I had to check out. And what it was is when and sometimes I need assistance too with somebody else, because it's like I can see stuff, but I can only see part of the pieces of the puzzle. And then when I work with somebody else, it's like they see little pieces of the puzzle, and then all of a sudden I can see the whole picture. That's how I operate as far as that goes. But all of a sudden I could see this planet with the help of someone else that helped me that was dying, and they were calling all their souls back. So that was why I was getting this other message. This was a while back. This had nothing to do with anything I've already talked about during this broadcast. And I was like, whoa. And it's like, and what the message I got is, no matter how many of us go back, the planet's dying. There's nothing we can do about it. We're here, we've come to Earth to really raise our vibration and our light. That's our mission. Just so you know, that's our first and foremost mission, is to heal, raise our vibration, our light. There are other missions like facilitate healing, whatever, activists, whatever. But your first and main mission is to become whole and heal yourself and raise your vibration, because that creates ripples.
Yeah.
So I just had to disconnect my soul origin from that planet that was dying and reconnect with the earth on the, I'm trying to think of the level. There's different layers of the earth, but it was like the paradise layer of earth. So I re-anchored in there as far as that goes, so that I could connect with the paradise of this planet. So you as individuals and beings, set through your intentions, you can do that yourself. So it's a little bit more of a process, but it's like, let's see if we can just all take a couple nice breaths and see if we can actually connect into the paradise level of earth. Let's see what that looks like for you. So bring your attention to your heart. Take a couple nice deep breaths in and out. And let's fill your heart again with that love, gratitude, compassion. And let's anchor down and see it coming out through your root and down, down, down until you hit the paradise level. And don't question it, just trust it. And allow yourself to receive the codes, the keys and codes to connect you to that paradise level of earth, so you feel more anchored in, so you feel like you actually fit and you belong here, and it's a joyful experience. And feel that paradise coming up, and the keys and codes. And when I say keys and codes, these are going to awaken in your DNA of when you actually were connected to the paradise level, whether it's on Earth or another planet, but it will get you to be able to feel that and allow yourself to receive that. And then just bring your attention back to the now. What'd you get with that, Nick?
I don't know. Just generally, I just felt lighter and I felt better.
Okay.
Felt a release of something.
Yeah. So it's like it's a place that you can go, like in your morning meditation, or you can go before you go to bed in your evening meditation. Or, and if you don't meditate, just set your intention that you're going to connect with it. It's that simple as far as that goes. Okay. So is there anything else you want to add about anything, Nick?
So for me, to really helping me coming out of like the self-harm and the self-heal and the, and the negative energies and stuff like that, is literally having respect for myself, treating myself like I was a best friend, actually having a relationship with myself instead of expecting it from someone else. Like, I know that's like a really hard thing for a lot of us to understand, because as kids we've been trained to look for love or from something, from an outward vantage point, or like, from someone else. So for me, it was a big thing is setting up a schedule for myself. Like every morning I wake up at 5 a.m. I do breath work, meditation, something along those lines before I get on my phone. I start eating better in the morning, and I work out every single day. I force myself to do that because it is having respect for yourself. It's having boundaries for yourself, and it's having a relationship with yourself to treat yourself better. Because because I really deal with self-sabotage, but self-sabotage I feel has a lot to do with self-harm, because it all kind of works together, in my opinion. And so, because when you're self-sabotaging, then you start to feel really bad. You get worse and worse, and you feel worse and worse. Next thing you know, you feel worthless. You feel all sorts of other things, and then you don't want to be here, and you don't know what else to do about that. So for me, it was really keeping myself and constantly doing the work to keep myself at the level that I wanted to be at. And sometimes like I'd start to feel bad, and then I would and also paying attention, what's the first thing that starts slipping in your daily habits when you start self-sabotaging? For me, it would be like personal care, like trimming my beard and stuff like that. That's usually the first thing that goes. And then I start to realize that I'm in the process of self-sabotaging. So it's really learning yourself. It's really understanding yourself, taking just trial and error in what works for you. Like you can try all these fads, all these diets, all these like gurus and all this other stuff. Find what works for you. There is no one size fits all. It's trial and error, and it takes time. And for me, I've mostly sorted it out, and it's worth the effort. Like it's taken me years, but it's worth the effort, and really loving yourself and appreciating yourself and loving the parts of you that you are trying to get somebody else to love for you is extremely crucial. Because like for me, like I have a really bad rejection wound, and there is a piece of me that I would only give to my most intimate partner. It took me a while to figure this one out. And I wasn't actually being that way with everyone else in my life. So I was very guarded of it. So when someone who is intimately involved with me would hurt that side of me, it would really hurt. It would hurt really bad. And then I would be like, I'd feel all sorts of way about this person. I'm like, you know what, Nick, really, this comes from inside of you. And the reason that you have a rejection wound is because you are actually rejecting this part of yourself, and you are afraid to show this side to other people, which was a lot of my feminine energy. Because, you know, as a male, you gotta work hard. You gotta do this. You can't talk. You can't show emotion. You can't do any of that stuff. So a lot of, like, for me, it was just really understanding myself and really opening up the feminine side of myself and integrating it into my day-to-day life and coupling it with your masculine energy. And for me, it just, my life has changed drastically over the last year and a half because of doing that work and how important it is.
Yeah, it's about self-love and awareness. It's really to be about that awareness. Okay. Well, thank you for showing up, and thank you. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna be closing up real soon here anyhow, as far as that goes. But I just want to say that if you're feeling the need, it's like to self-harm, is to really recognize and have the awareness of whether it's even your feeling or not. Mm-hmm. And if it's not yours, then you want to make sure you go clearing and really clear your fields and clear your energy fields. And if it is, you want to reach out. You know,
or as soon as you realize it, find something that makes you feel good, that helps you in that moment, and do it, whatever it is.
Yeah, and force yourself to do it, because once you get in that joy spot again, it can raise your vibration. So It's like you might not feel like painting as far as that goes, but
going for a walk, being in nature. Being in nature is phenomenal. Go out to find a state park, or even just go to a local park, even walk outside and just have get out of your house, open up your front door and just get a breath of fresh air and walk back in. It will drastically reset your mindset.
Yeah, it's the little things. So just be awareness. And we just want to thank everybody for showing up today. And if you're listening on the replay, we really appreciate that. And again, so we're gonna say goodbye for now. And who knows, maybe we'll, if we get enough requests, maybe we'll do this again. Okay. All right. Lots of love to everybody.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Talk to you later.